As I'm recording this, I'm 2 days out from our wedding. And when you'll listen to this, well, if you're listening to this in like real time when it gets posted, I am 2 days out after getting married. So that's cool. I'll share about our wedding in a podcast with Steve. But what I want to share about today is some news that I have kept fairly under wraps. I've done my best and kept quiet since April 2023, last year. But I am writing a book with Penguin Publishing, and it's coming out this year, August 2024. And it's been such a gnarly process. I'm still in the process of writing the book. And I remember getting the email. It was a Monday morning. I was driving back from the gym. I got home, checked my email, and I saw, the little penguin symbol, then read the email. I was like, this is a scam. Someone is messing with me. That was my first thought. I mean, how self-robbing of joy am I? Is my ego. Seriously, it's like, yeah. I mean, look, these days there are many scams, and usually when people send me emails, they're wanting to do collaborations, and most of the time it's a no as opposed to a yes. But yeah, I read it, and it was, an email that said, we've been watching you for some time, and we want to know if you are interested in writing a book with us. We love your message, and we love what you're about and what you stand for. And I was like, Steve, can you please check if this is legit and real and not a scam? So I LinkedIn, Facebooked, Instagrammed, whatever other Google search that I could possibly do to make sure that the person who sent the email was legit. And across every board, it was legit. And so I wrote back. Now, this is it's been a calling of mine for some time to write. And I remember, I think it was last year, end of 2022 to 23, and I think I said this in an episode on the podcast, that I was walking the beach, and it was very clear that it was this very clear voice and message that said, by the time you are 40, you'll be a full-time writer and a full-time speaker. And so at that point, I was still 37, and I was like, all right, well, that seems a bit soon to be like a full-time writer. But that voice, it's that voice that has such deep resonance that, of course, your mind's going to fuck with it. Of course, your ego is going to question it. But there's some level of truth. There's such a depth to that truth that you just know it, even though you'll be head fuckering yourself, which is, of course, what I love to do, what my ego loves to do. So, yeah, it's been a calling of mine to express what's in my heart through writing, like I do through speaking, through dancing. It's another medium. And I wrote back, and of course, it was just like we had Zoom calls and chats, and it was just an immediate full body yes. Not just because it's Penguin, but because the humans inside of that place and how wonderful they were and still are, and how much they have honored and want to honor my voice and the way that I express myself. That was what I was most worried about, to be honest. I was most worried that, like, who I am and the way I am, and here goes the ego again, is not Penguin enough. It's too rogue, it's too raw, it's too, Penguin people won't like that. I'm like, who the fuck are Penguin people? Like that's where my thoughts go. Like, they're just hilarious when I say them out loud. And that's why I love to share them out loud, because then I can see how funny they are. And when you hear them, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only person who thinks that there are Penguin people out there. So, yeah, it's been such a big process. to try and to write a book. And obviously this book is about authenticity and coming back home to ourselves. The title is still in workings. But yeah, it's, I spoke to my beautiful friend, Kemi, who's a writer, and we had this chat. And, I started, when I first started to write, I was like, chapter 1. And my fingers were just like, I can't type. My brain immediately farted. And it was like all the information that rested inside of me and that could come through me from source was just jammed, And I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is not going to be the way. So I contacted my friend Kemi, and we had a chat, and we talked about creating the practice of 1,000 words a day, and 1,000 words a day of whatever you want to write. And it could be a story, it could be an experience, it could be your story, it could be a tool, it could be just however many ideas, dot points, but it's 1,000 words, and let that be your practice for 30 days, because voila, at the end of 30 days, you got 30,000 words. And I committed to that practice, and I love that practice. And by the end of 30 days, there were 30,000 words. And it was just so beautiful. I'd come up here in the mornings and I'd sit, I'd drink my chai, almond latte, and have my breakfast. I'd go to the gym first and then do all my like knick-knacky things and admin stuff. And then I would just sit, and it usually would take me an hour to write 1,000 words. And I would close my eyes and I would play music, and I'd tap in, and I'd just go to the energy and the essence of the book, right? So I still don't know what the title is, but Steve and I talk about the energy and end result of our relationship. And this is how I create all things in my life. What is the energy and end result of my relationship with Steve, my relationship with my family, the book that I want to write, the event that I want to run, the energy and essence and end result of the Zero Fucks program. Like, that's what I'm always tapping into. The energy and essence and end result of Kat when she's 40, of Kat when she's 50. And I tap into that. And when I tap into this book, what I see, and it may make me cry, is a woman reading in her bed or away on holiday, and she's reading a part of the book, and it touches her so deeply that when it does, she rests the book against her chest and she closes her eyes just for a moment, and just, she catches her breath. She catches the beating of her heart, because the words, and see, this is how powerful it is, because it makes me want to cry, because the words that have been written have spoken such truth to her that it takes her breath away, that it makes her heart beat a little faster or maybe a little slower. And she just has to hold herself for a moment, because in that moment, she can't unread what she's just read. She can't unfeel what she has just felt. She can't un all the things that she experienced in that one moment. And she knows that something's about to shift and something's about to change in her world. And it might not be exactly in that moment, but it's coming. And that's what I would tap into every morning when I would write those 1,000 words a day. And I would write client stories. I would write my story. I would write this. I'd write that, and whatever it may be. And then there was a period of time where I'd sent a piece of writing back to my editors. And the coolest thing that they ever did was they read it, and they, commended on this and commended on that. And then they said, give us more, Kat, like the real raw Kat, just how you speak on the podcast, how you show up at your live events, how you speak there. I want you to find that voice in writing. I thought, fuck, I've got to go even deeper, because what I could see that I was writing was great, but it was still in the mindset of penguin enough, penguin enough, penguin enough. And they hadn't set that expectation. That was my own expectation. That was my ego's own expectation. And I was playing it somewhat safe. And so when I got that back, it took me a moment, right? I kind of was like, fuck. How am I going to find this writing voice? And so what I did was I then put my microphone on and turned it on and turned on dictation in Word. Closed my eyes, tapped into the end result and the essence and energy of that woman who's reading the book. And then I would speak. I'd speak and I'd dictate. And I wouldn't look at the words that were showing up on the Word document, and I just spoke. And what I was able to see in front of me was how my words landed on a page from simply how I spoke just in every day. And so that then I was like, okay, cool. I've got a jam now. I've got a framework that I can work with. And then that unleashed Kat's writing voice, my writing voice. And I sent back the next chunk of work to them, because we had at that point had split the book up into certain parts and pieces. And I sent it back to them. And my editor, she wrote me back quite possibly the best freaking email I could have ever asked for. She wrote to me, "Now that I've had a first read of your story, thank you. This is such an open, honest account and is so beautifully, achingly, beautifully written in the most authentic Kat John voice. You have unlocked your writing voice, Kat. It's absolutely everything and more." And I read that and I had this same feeling of just feeling really proud and so grateful to this work of knowing who the fuck I am, like really am, and being able to tap into that and being able to tap out of who I think I have to be. Because, it could be so easy. It could have been so easy to write that book, kind of Cat, kind of not Cat, kind of Cat, kind of the penguin people in my head. But these incredible editors urged me to go deeper, to really find that voice. And when I did, I actually felt myself I could feel myself be more relaxed when I was writing. And I literally was just writing like I speak. And that's when I found a lot of flow. What I did notice is that once I handed in the manuscript at the end of October last year, I thought I would have this great relief and that, I'd be, just this, I'm great and wonderful and yay. Because, by the end of when the manuscript was due, I was writing sometimes 4 to 5 hours a day. So what started to be 1 hour a day then increased to 2 hours a day, then 3 hours a day. And then when the manuscript was due, it was like, okay, I'm going over this again and again and again. To the point where I sent it in, I'm like, my eyes are cross-eyed. I don't know what's what now anymore. I feel like I've read the story 500 times and I'm handing it in. And I actually felt really scattered and all over the place when I handed it in. I didn't sleep well. My eyes were like bloodshot. My body was jammed up. I went to the chiro many times and got massages, and I think I was just like peaking, I was holding so much from April till October in terms of writing this book and getting the things out that I wanted to get out, that once I released, I thought I would have this immediate release, but it really took time. And the same thing happened when I handed in my structural edits at the end of January. I thought, okay, yes, I'll have that relief and I'll have that this and that and the other. And same thing, it didn't come. And I was wired. Actually, that's the best way to say it. I was wired. Like Mia, my youngest bonus daughter, she's like, yay, you're finished now. We can focus on the wedding and you can be fun. And I was like, oh, I couldn't, I couldn't bring myself down that quickly. And I've just learned to now respect the bounce back period, the rebound period, as to what I need and how I kind of bounce back after such an intense period of writing. And yeah, what I noticed is that, so I was wired and I was kind of fried, and I didn't sleep well. Both times I wanted to like ferociously clean the house just to almost like expel the energy, and clear what was in my mind. And the best way that I know how to do that, which look, may be healthy or unhealthy, is to clean the house. Clean the cupboards and clean the skirting boards. And I was washing walls, and I thought, I was making myself be bad for that and wrong for that and shamed for that. But I just said, no, this is just currently how I'm rebounding from writing. And maybe that may progress and that may change. But for now, this is currently how I'm doing it. And I'm not going to give myself a hard time because it's a big process. So, okay, I'm wired. I'm not sleeping well. I'm not going to pressure myself. I'm going to book less things, in the coming days afterward. If I don't feel like going to the gym, I won't, but I will go for like a really big motherfucking walk. And I just noticed I just wanted to like sit in the sun. Like when we go for a walk with the dogs and with Steve, there's this hill, and I did it this morning on the way back. Steve went back earlier because he had to go to the gym, and I walked back with the dogs and walked up the hill and went to walk down. And I was like, no, I just need to sit on this patch of grass and let the sun hit my face at 7 a.m. in the morning with my two little pooches and just take it in. But yeah, I've even noticed that I've like been stuttering, like finding it sometimes difficult to get words out because I've really been in a cave of writing, like from April till October, then a rest. And then from January sort of 9th to the 31st, like being in a cave. And yeah, I've just been observing that. And like I said, not making myself feel bad or wrong or terrible for it, although I have attempted to, don't get me wrong. And just gone, okay, that's all right. Brene Brown talks about FFTs, first fucking times, and this is the first fucking time I've written a book. And so this is the first fucking time that I've written a book and had a rebound period. And the way that I'm rebounding right now is, all right, I'm wired, I'm fried, I'm stuttering a bit. I'm finding it difficult to get words out. I want to take really long walks. I just want to sit in the sun and let it hit my face. I want to ferociously clean once I've handed it in, to expel energy. And okay, cool. I had planned to go to a Afrobeats dance class and celebrate, but I literally just was like, no, I'm cleaning the house and I'm going to order something healthy on Uber Eats because I never do. I just cook my own food. I'm like, I don't want to do something. I don't cook anything for anyone or even myself. And I want to read another book. I want to read not my book. I want to read someone else's book. And I've finished Tiny Beautiful Things by Cheryl Strayed. Please, if you haven't read it, I just so encourage you to read it. And so I'm now on to her other book called Wild, From Lost to Found. There's actually a movie with Reese Witherspoon that's based on that. I just love her writing. I love the way she writes. She actually reminds me a lot of me. Just her, our stories are different, but the fucking level of pain and shame and self-punishment is very, very relatable. So I love reading her stuff. I find it really inspiring just how she writes, and it's just her on a page. And I think now that I've found my writing style and me on a page, it's like, oh, cool, I can see what she's done here, and I can see how there's no penguin people. It's just you find the writers that you love and the way that they write, and that's it, you know. So I'm on a break at the moment from writing, and I'm tired. I'm obviously got the wedding coming up as well, and I've been writing vows and writing speeches, and I just almost don't want to sit at my laptop. I don't want to be at my laptop at the moment. I have obviously always got work to do as a business owner, and I just am choosing to not. And I'm choosing to lay in the sun, and I'm choosing to read Wild by Cheryl Strayed and go for walks with my friends. And that's kind of it, you know, that's kind of it. So I'm finding my writing groove in how I respond to handing such a big piece of work in, handing myself over, you know, it really, that's what it is. It's just like, here's my story. Here's the way that I'm putting this together. Here's the way that I see a structure of a book, and there it is. And then once it's out of my hands, it's like, I don't know what the fuck to do with myself. So here's what I'm going to do with myself, you know. Some of it's great, some of it's not perfect, but I'm just sharing now I can share the ride with you, which is so fantastic. You know, now I can share the ride with you, and you know, the last month of January, it really has been intense. My bonus daughters, you know, I'd come upstairs and I stick my AirPods in and I put noise cancellation on, and they know to give me space, and Steve knows to give me space. I would, you know, I'd come up here and I'd do all, like I said, I'd go to the gym, I'd go for the walk with the dogs, I'd write, I would do all my admin stuff, and then it would just be do not disturb on, and I would set my timer for an hour. That's what I did. When I found it hard, I'd set my timer for half an hour, but I always wanted to do hour stints. But I would set it for half an hour, take a little pause, and then go for another half an hour, and then I would actually get up, I'd go downstairs, I'd have a protein shake, go for a little walk outside just to like breathe and bounce, you know, bounce inside of nature. And then I'd come back up and I'd put the timer on again. And by when I was doing the first manuscript, so the whole thing, by the end of it, I was putting on 15-minute blocks because I was writing so much, but I just needed to psychologically not have an hour. So I did 15 minutes and I'd be like, yep, cool, repeat. 15 minutes, yep, cool, repeat. 15 minutes, yep, cool, repeat. And then I would know when I needed a break, stand up, go out. I've got a stand-up desk down. So, you know, the other day I was so fucking hot in my room because it's been hot in Melbourne. We've got glass all up in the upstairs. And I had the desk up. I took off all my clothes, was pumping the aircon, and I was literally standing at my desk writing naked, legitimately. Like if you knew when you read that book, the fucking self that's on the other side of that book, oh, pretty hilarious, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's been my structured, messy process to writing. And you know what? I fucking love it. I love it. I want to write more. I want to write more books. I love this messy, structured process. I could be anywhere in the world writing, anywhere in the world sharing my thoughts, sharing my views on the world, sharing my views on humanity. And I've fallen in love with it. I've fallen in love with this practice and process and ritual, sacrifice, and I'm devoted to writing. It's stunning, and now I can share it all with you.